haunting of 973. It all began with a late-night message from a friend. They had sent John a link to a peculiar website with an even stranger name, 973-EHT-NAMUH-973.com. Intrigued, John clicked the link and found himself plunged into a digital labyrinth filled with strange symbols, cryptic images, and eerie text. The site seemed to be a tangled web of biblical verses, coded messages, and abstract artwork that both fascinated and disturbed him. Over the course of several days, John became obsessed with the website, spending countless hours clicking through its pages in search of answers. He felt a deep sense of unease that seemed to grow with each passing hour. He couldn't quite put his finger on it, but the website felt alive, as if it were watching him, studying him. On the fourth night, as he reached the end of yet another convoluted path, John stumbled upon a blank page. He stared at the empty screen, his mind numb from the hours of investigation. Suddenly, the page flickered to life, revealing a grainy video feed of a room that looked eerily familiar. John gasped as he realized the video feed was showing him, hunched over his computer, engrossed in the strange website. He quickly turned around, searching for the source of the camera, but there was nothing in the room that could have captured the footage. Feeling a growing sense of panic, John clicked to the next page and found another video feed, this one showing an exterior view of his house. The camera seemed to be positioned outside, giving the viewer a clear view of his front door and the surrounding area. His heart raced as he clicked through a series of cameras, each one revealing different angles of his home. The next camera feed he found was inside his kitchen, the image slightly distorted, as if filmed through a warped lens. The more he stared, the more John realized that the perspective was not fixed. It was moving. The camera seemed to be walking through his house, the distorted view swaying with each step. As the camera approached the staircase, John could hear the faint sound of footsteps echoing through the empty house. John panicked, frantically searching for a place to hide. He settled on the closet, hoping that the intruder would overlook it in their search. He left his computer screen on, watching the video feed as the camera crept closer and closer to his room. As the camera entered his bedroom, the door slowly creaked open, revealing a horrifying sight. A mutilated man stood in the doorway, his body twisted and warped, as if he had been put through a meat grinder and sewn back together. His eyes were dark voids, devoid of any humanity, and his mouth stretched into a grotesque grin that seemed to defy the limits of his face. John held his breath, trying to remain as quiet as possible, praying that the abomination wouldn't find him. The creature stalked through the room, its movements jerky and unnatural, like a puppet being controlled by unseen hands. It paused, its head tilting to one side, as if it could sense John's presence. Suddenly, the creature lunged towards the closet, tearing the door off its hinges. It grabbed John with a strength that belied its mangled form, its twisted fingers digging into his flesh as it dragged him from his hiding place. John screamed, his voice cracking with terror as the creature raised him up to meet its grotesque gaze. "You thought you could hide from me?" It hissed, its voice like nails on a chalkboard. "You delved too deep into the abyss, and now you belong to me." The creature attacked John, its twisted limbs tearing into his body with relentless ferocity. John struggled to break free, but the creature's grip was unyielding, its fingers like iron claws. With each violent movement, the creature inflicted more pain, tearing through flesh and bone with an unnatural strength. As John's vision blurred from the agony, he could hear the creature's twisted laughter echoing throughout the room. The monster seemed to revel in the torment it was causing, its eyes alight with a sickening glee. In a final desperate act of defiance, John managed to grab a nearby object, a heavy bookend, and swung it at the creature's grotesque face with all the strength he could muster. The impact sent the monster reeling backward, momentarily stunned by the blow. Seizing the opportunity, John stumbled to his feet, his body racked with pain, and lunged for the door. He tore through the hallway and down the stairs, each step sending searing waves of agony through his broken body. He could hear the creature's enraged snarls echoing behind him, the sound of its twisted limbs scraping against the floor as it gave chase. John burst through the front door and into the cold night, his breath coming in ragged gasps as he ran. He didn't know where he was going. He only knew that he had to escape the nightmare that had invaded his home. As he fled, he couldn't help but think of the price he had paid for delving into the mysteries of 973-EHT namuh-973.com. His curiosity had led him to the very edge of terror, and he could only hope that he would survive the night. Unfortunately, John's desperate flight for survival was in vain. The creature caught up with him, its twisted form a horrifying shadow against the moonlit sky. It struck him down, the force of its attack crushing the life from his battered body. The next day, John was found dead, his body bearing the gruesome marks of the creature's brutal assault. The horrifying encounter with the mutilated man would forever serve as a chilling reminder that some mysteries are best left alone, and that the pursuit of knowledge can sometimes come at a sudden and fatal cost. When you subscribe, be sure to click the notification bell. Click here for more true scary stories.